People still up in the aisles, but dinner is being served. We will be live there again when the speeches start. But one of the features of Google Plus is called Google Hangout. This is where people with iPads, smartphones, etc. can establish video links and talk to each other. Well, we've invited two reporters who don't happen to be in the room tonight to join us, two Politico reporters. We want to introduce you first to Patrick Gavin of Politico. Mr. Gavin, first of all, where are you?
I'm in the safe confines of my home, actually, in the upper northwest D.C. I had spent the early day covering the Tammy Haddad's brunch that you had just shown, and then at our Politico's headquarters in Roslyn, Virginia, to preview our own live stream of the events tonight, and then come back here because these speeches get started pretty late, so I'll actually be covering the speeches tonight, but since they're going to pretty much bleed into about the 11 o'clock hour, I'd rather be doing it from here and then go safely to bed after that. Pretty lame, but that's, you know, the truth hurts, I think.
Well, Mr. Gavin, where did the Tammy Haddad brunch come from? When did it get started, and is it an official event?
Well, I think like everything about this weekend, it started off innocent and pure, and it's sort of grown into its own sort of separate beast. She had it for years at her home in the Palisades, which is actually not that far from Georgetown, but it actually just became bigger and bigger, and security became an issue the more celebrities they got, to say nothing of the fact that she just destroyed her lawn every year because the sheer amount of people. So she was able to move it to the former house of Katharine Graham, the publisher, the late publisher of the Washington Post. I think it's a much more appropriate venue. Security is easier. You can allow more people to get in there, and I think sort of managing traffic is better. But as a result, you know, once you make things bigger, you get bigger names. And so now, you know, back in the day, you might see Chris Matthews. Now you see Lindsay Lohan and Kim Kardashian at these types of things.
So, Patrick Gavin, what kind of resources does Politico give to this weekend?
You know, I mean, I think that any time the president is involved, we try to put a lot of our resources into it. Obviously, this is more of a lighthearted thing, but there have been a handful of reporters, probably I would say 10 to 15, everybody from our own Mike Allen to folks on our Click gossip blog that cover this from, you know, from obviously some of the more trivial things like, say, party coverage, to also kind of a serious examination of the actual relationship between Hollywood and D.C. I mean, a lot of Democrats think that Hollywood is kind of their ATM machine, and that's sort of true. I mean, the president's heading out there in May for a fundraiser at George Clooney's house. So the Hollywood-D.C. connection, which is, you know, best represented tonight, is not just a trivial matter. It is kind of serious, you know, and there are actual real issues, intellectual property rights and things like that. So we kind of cover a lot of the serious stuff with regards to that nexus, but obviously a lot of the more lighthearted stuff as well.
Well, also joining us, another Politico reporter is Rachel Sklar. And Rachel, if you would, tell us where you are.
I'm in my hotel room at the Hilton, about 7 floors above where the banquet is happening, and we've got C-SPAN on mute right now, but we feel like we're right there.
Now,
I should note that I had my first piece for Politico today. I'm not actually with Politico, but happy to have published there.
Well, your other publication is what?
I'm actually covering the dinner this evening for Mashable.
And what is Mashable?
I'm focusing on Mashable focuses on tech and social media coverage, and my focus is on the intersection of politics, media, and tech, which is sort of reaching a inflection point here in 2012.
Okay. Well, Rachel Sklar is at the Washington Hilton. Here's the ballroom of the Hilton, 7 floors below where she is. You can see live coverage. Dinner's being served. We're waiting on the speechifying to begin. But Rachel Sklar, in the meantime, did you attend any of the receptions down in the labyrinth of the reception hall of the Hilton?
I did indeed. It's a time-honored tradition to go downstairs to a windowless network of ballrooms and with fluorescent light and just come to face with Politicos and Hollywood superstars and media and anyone who can get in.
So, any surprises? Any fun meets for you?
It was fun to come face-to-face with Newt Gingrich. I'd actually been really excited when I was in New Hampshire covering the primary to see him every time I checked in on Foursquare, and to see him be very active on Foursquare, which is a social media check-in, location-based site, service rather. And so I asked him about that, and he got a little tense, and he said he didn't want to discuss it. So I guess it wasn't really him checking in on Foursquare. Diane Keaton was there, which was amazing. And actually, I met David Boies, who was one of the two lawyers with Ted Olson, who argued the Prop 8 case. And that was exciting. I'm a former lawyer, so I had a little nerd moment there.
Well, Rachel Sklar, you also wrote that your piece for Politico today was all about, what was it about?
It was about the fact that this year there are more and more tech people involved in the festivities, attending the dinner, and that it would make sense for people in politics and media, though this is their big event, and it's exciting to gawk at the Hollywood stars, to also pay attention to the nerds who are suited up in attendance from the tech side of things. Dennis Crowley, who is the founder and CEO of Foursquare, is in the house. Dick Costello and Katie Stanton from Twitter. We're in our room. We've got Jason Putorti from Votizen, which leverages your social networks to allow you to connect with other voters for issues you're passionate about. So the future is here. And if you hop on board, if you talk to some of these people and find out what they're doing, then you never know. You might know what the next Instagram will be before it sells to Facebook for $1 billion.
And our other reporter, Patrick Graham of Politico, Mr. Gavin, Patrick Gavin, of course. I want to read this tweet to you and see if you can give an answer. And this is from Chili Crew. And he writes in, do any actual news correspondents actually go to the White House Correspondents' dinner anymore?
Well, Chili Crew, they do. The only people, the New York Times is the only organization kind of officially who was blacklisted this dinner. They said, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, that they felt uncomfortable, as a lot of people do, we should note, with what they see as kind of a too close for comfort relationship on this night between reporters, their sources, celebrities. Some people look at what happens tonight and really don't like it, think it's kind of a violation, I think, of what reporters are supposed to do. Of course, on the other hand, a lot of reporters say, hey, we socialize with these folks all throughout the year. There's nothing new, and there's nothing new about getting to know your sources, and also just maybe taking a night off and having a few drinks and enjoying it all. But I think to the tweeter's point, whereas this really used to be about the White House Correspondents, let's be honest, it really isn't anymore. If you just looked at the red carpet coverage that C-SPAN was providing, I mean, you hear the paparazzi and the cameramen and all the news outlets scream for Kim Kardashian or Kerry Washington, but when Jake Tapper walks by, probably not as much. When Terry Moran walks by, Chuck Todd walks by, probably not as much. That is obviously the state of things in our world today, that celebrities kind of drive the culture. The correspondents do go. I mean, the reporters love this event. They like meeting celebrities. They like feeling as if they're celebrities themselves to a small degree, and it is a very prestigious ticket to get. So yes, they do go, but I think the larger point that this dinner has ceased to really become about White House Correspondents is probably pretty accurate.
Patrick Gavin, do you regret not being there?
Not at all. I probably stopped going to the actual dinner maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Not only is just this whole slate, this whole week long of events quite exhausting, but if you actually want to / need to cover the event, covering the event from the dinner to actually run at the speeches is almost impossible. The Wi-Fi there is not so great. The line out of there is very long. And seasoned party travelers know that the best thing is actually not to go to the dinner, but to sort of hang out around the Hilton, and then you get the easiest way out and on your way to the after party. So no regrets from me, but I, of course, will be just going to bed after this.
By the way, Politico has a whole special edition devoted to the White House Correspondents' dinner, and Patrick Gavin, in fact, went out to Hollywood and interviewed Jimmy Kimmel, tonight's entertainment, before the dinner about a week or so ago. Mr. Gavin, thank you for joining us from your home on Google+. And Rachel Sklar, 2 final questions. What does a room at the Hilton cost on this weekend?
Well, I booked it in advance online, so the first night was $119. But I don't even know what I was thinking. I only booked one night, so the other day when I went to check my reservation, I realized I hadn't booked it. So it turns out there was a White House Correspondents rate for $250. Otherwise, it would have been $299. There you go. But you know what? You can just go online. It's pretty cost effective. I stay here every year, whether or not I go to the dinner, because it's so efficient. It's the easiest commute for any event is to go down in the elevator.
And finally, Ms. Sklar, what is your Change the Ratio project?
Change the Ratio is an initiative to de-invisibilize people and constituencies that we tend not to see as much. It focuses on advancing, elevating, and increasing the visibility, access, and opportunity for women. But as we all know, there are a number of constituencies that don't perhaps get the advantages, opportunities, and attention than, say, white men get. So no disrespect to white men or anyone who's currently in the Senate, but there are other members of the population who deserve some attention, and we give it to them.
And Rachel Sklar is also joining us on the Google Hangout from her 7th floor room at the Washington Hilton. Ms. Sklar, thank you for your time this evening. And here's another live picture, 7 floors down below Rachel Sklar.